Mighty Mac saves Donald. One morning, Donald was in the yards when the Fat Controller arrived. He was moaning to Donald. "Donald, I'm hungry," he said. I haven't had any breakfast this morning. Anyway," he said, "I want you to go to the docks and fetch me some honey, some toast, cereal and honey for breakfast," he said. "Yes, sir," said Donald, and Donald puffed away. He arrived at the docks, and Torindo Just was there. "Hello, Donald," he said. "On your way to the docks?" "Actually, Torindo Just," said Donald, "I'm already at the docks. Now, where's the Fat Controller's breakfast?" "It's in front of you," said Torindo Just. There was a bright yellow brake van. Donald didn't know that the Fat Controller's breakfast was in there. He travelled too fast and he crashed into it. The brake van was in pieces. Honey and cereal laid all over Donald's face. He was sticky and dirty. Later, Luke the new engine came to help. He pulled Donald and took him back to the yards. The Fat Controller was cross with Donald. "You've disappointed me," he said. "You've disappointed me," he said. Now Luke will have to send some workmen to clean up the mess, and Luke won't like it, won't he?" "Sorry, sir," said Donald. "You will stay in the sheds for 2 weeks," he said. "That's not fair, sir," said Donald. "I know it's not," grumbled the Fat Controller, and he walked angrily away. 2 weeks later, Donald was ungrounded and was back to work. Later that day, he was pulling some trucks to take to the yards, and Donald still likes that job, but sometimes doesn't. Just then, he hurried along the line. He puffed along and was ready. He was almost on his way to the yards. He got out of the tunnel when suddenly there was a cracking noise. It was the bridge. It started to crumble. It crumbled and crumbled, and it was almost ready to fall. Donald's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Donald was derailed, and he was in terrible trouble. "Help!" said Donald. "I'm going to fall." His driver and fireman went for help. Mighty Mac soon came to the rescue. "I'm here," said Mighty Mac, but Mighty Mac was already coupled to the trucks. Mighty Mac knew there was no time for teasing. "I'm ready," he said. "So am I," said Donald. And with that, Mighty Mac pulled and pulled, and Donald was back on the rails. The 2 engines were just in time. controller spoke to Donald. You are a very brave engine, he said. Yes, sir, said Donald. And Mighty Mac, you're brave too, you know. Yes, Mighty Mac, you really are a useful engine. Thank you, sir, said Mighty Mac. Mighty smiled. So did Mac. So did Donald. So did the Fat Controller too.